The gentle rocking of the boat and the soothing sound of water lapping against the hull created a sense of calm that washed over him as John settled into his seat on this charming tourist boat. The vessel began its journey, roaming the picturesque waters of the Seineriver in the heart of Paris. A light breeze caressed his face, carrying with it the scent of the Seine and the distant smell of fresh bread from a nearby bakery. Above him, the vast expanse of the sky was a canvas of the purest blue, dotted with fluffy white clouds that seemed to be floating just as leisurely as his boat. With the motor quietly purring, the boat glided through the crystal-clear waters, leaving a gentle wake in its path. The sun was beginning its descent, casting long shadows that stretched across the river like liquid gold. The scene was straight out of a fairy tale, and John found himself completely captivated by the magic of the moment. As the boat moved further into the heart of the city, the skyline of Paris gradually unfolded before his eyes, revealing some of the most iconic landmarks of this enchanting city. First, the majestic Eiffel Tower emerged from the distance, its wrought iron latticework gleaming in the soft evening light. It stood proudly on the Champ de Mars, its presence dominating the landscape and stirring a sense of awe in John's heart. But as the boat approached, something even more spectacular unfolded before his eyes. The reflection of the Eiffel Tower in the still waters of the Seine transformed the already iconic landmark into a shimmering mirage. It was as if the tower had been duplicated, with its image mirrored perfectly on the water's surface. This unexpected spectacle left John breathless, feeling as though he was witnessing something truly extraordinary. The boat continued its journey along the river, passing under several of the famous bridges that spanned the Seine. Each bridge was unique, boasting its own architectural charm and character. One of the most notable was the Pont Alexandre III, a bridge adorned with golden statues and outstanding decorations. Its ornate lampposts stood tall, casting a warm glow on the water below. John marveled at the splendor of the architecture and the attention to detail, realizing that each structure had its own story to tell. As they cruised past the banks of the river, John was treated to glimpses of some of the most significant landmarks in Paris. On the opposite bank, he saw the majestic Notre Dame Cathedral with its spire reaching towards the sky. Even from a distance, he could appreciate the intricate details of its facade, including the famous gargoyles perched atop the roofline. Glimpsing the rose window with its vibrant stained glass further fueled his desire to explore this historic site more closely. Continuing along the river, John's gaze fell upon another iconic structure, the Louvre Museum. The sight of its stunning historical design left him in awe. The Louvre, with its grand facade facing the Tuileries Garden, was a testament to centuries of art and culture. The museum's glass pyramid glistening in the daylight symbolized the harmonious blend of old and new that characterized Paris. John imagined the countless masterpieces that lay within its walls, from the Mona Lisa to Venus de Milo, and dreamed of one day exploring its vast collection. While these landmarks were undoubtedly impressive, John found himself equally captivated by the everyday scenes that unfolded along the banks of the river. He watched as locals strolled along the paved pathways, their voices echoing with the joy of living in such a picturesque place. Some sat on the grassy banks, relaxing and soaking in the ambiance. Others gathered in sidewalk cafes, sipping coffee and enjoying the view. The scene was a delightful reminder that amidst the grandeur of Paris, everyday life continued, creating a sense of normalcy and authenticity. In between these captivating views, John couldn't help but notice the boats that shared the river with his own. Some were small and nimble, darting through the water like playful swans. Others were larger, carrying passengers on their own sightseeing, tours, or transporting goods to various destinations along the Seine. The gentle movement of the water as the boats passed by created a soothing rhythm, adding to the overall tranquility of the journey. John found himself mesmerized by the interplay of light and shadow as the sun began its slow descent towards the horizon. The sky transformed into a palette of vibrant colors, mixing shades of orange and red in a breathtaking display. The clouds became tinged with hues of pink and purple, creating a sense of urgency, as if nature itself were preparing for an extraordinary event. As the last rays of sunlight touched the water, the Seineriver became a mirror, reflecting the fiery sky above. The scene was both inspiring and humbling, reminding John of the immense beauty that surrounded him. During this magical time, the river came alive with an ethereal glow, making the entire journey feel like a dream. Then, as if responding to the sky's vibrant display, the lights of Paris began to twinkle and shine. At first, they appeared sporadically, like stars emerging one by one. But as the darkness deepened, they grew in number, transforming the city into a constellation of light. The twinkling lights of the Eiffel Tower, the Champs de Mars, and the buildings along the river banks created a mesmerizing spectacle. Looking out over the water, John witnessed a sea of glittering lights dancing and shimmering in the darkness. The scene was both enchanting and romantic, leaving him spellbound. One by one, the other landmarks along the river came to life with their own unique radiance. The Statue of Liberty on the Ponte de Lama bridge twinkled with golden light, while the medieval streets around Notre Dame were illuminated with warm lamplight. Even the modern structures sparkled, such as the sleek glass facade of the Louvre Museum, which reflected the surrounding lights like a giant mirror. However, it was the Eiffel Tower that truly stole the show. As the darkness deepened, its iron latticework blazed with thousands of twinkling lights. From afar, it resembled a gigantic sparkling jewel, piercing the night sky. The tower seemed to pulse with energy, drawing John's gaze like a magnet. But what truly made this moment unforgettable for John was the reflection of the lights in the Seineriver. The water became a mirror, faithfully reflecting the sparkling image of the tower and the other illuminated landmarks. It was as if Paris itself was duplicated on the water's surface, creating a scene of unparalleled beauty. As the boat moved through this illuminated wonderland, John leaned against the railing, allowing himself to be swept away by the magic of the moment. The cool night air caressed his skin, carrying with it the sounds of laughter, music, and the distant chatter of the city. He closed his eyes, breathing deeply and committing this experience to memory. And then, as if guided by an invisible force, John turned his head towards the source of a familiar sound. The sweet melody of an accordion drifted through the night air, carrying with it the essence of Paris. Emerging from a nearby street, he saw a lone accordion player, his weathered hands moving effortlessly over the keys, filling the air with lively French music. The melodies danced along the riverbank, weaving their way into the fabric of the night. And then, as suddenly as it began, the music ended. The accordion fell silent, leaving behind a lingering echo of its lively tunes. John turned back to the river, his gaze sweeping across the panorama of light and color. In that moment, he realized that his journey on the Seineriver had become more than just a tourist experience. It had become a journey into the heart and soul of Paris. The twinkling lights, the iconic landmarks, and the vibrant atmosphere had all come together to create an unforgettable tapestry of urban beauty. With a heavy heart, John knew that his time in Paris was drawing to a close. As the boat made its way back to the starting point, he couldn't help but feel a sense of sadness at the thought of leaving this enchanting city. Over the past few days, Paris had woven its magic around him, captivating his heart with its beauty, culture, and charm. The streets, the cafes, the art, and the very essence of the city had left an indelible mark on his soul. He had explored iconic landmarks such as the Eiffel Tower and the Louvre, each holding its own unique story and significance. But it wasn't just the famous attractions that had captivated him. It was the city's everyday life, the quaint cafes along the Seine, the bustling markets, the cozy bookstores, and the charming boutiques that had stolen a piece of his heart. He had wandered through picturesque neighborhoods, each with its own distinct character and ambience. Now, as he prepared to depart, John realized that Paris had become more than just a destination. It had become a part of him. The city's beauty, its romance, and its timeless elegance would forever be etched in his memory. As the boat approached the final stretch of the journey, John stood up, bracing himself for the bittersweet farewell. He took a deep breath, savoring the last moments of his unforgettable trip on the Seineriver.